Though Constantine did great things, it wasn't enough. Not long after his death, the empire was back to all the same problems. This time, though, they wouldn't be able to overcome them.
August 24th, 410 AD, the empire falls. Rome, a city so long in control of its own destiny and the world's, is invaded by a band of dirty, sweaty, smelly thugs. They are the Visigoths, a terrifying assortment of heathens from Europe's northeastern frontier, and they've come to declare the death of Roman domination. For the first time in 800 years, the Eternal City is under siege.
The psychological effect of the greatest city of the ancient world being conquered was absolutely crushing.
For 3 days, the great capital of Caesar and Augustus is ravaged by its unwelcome guests. Stunning architectural marvels that have stood for centuries are burned to the ground. Germanic slaves rise up to enslave their Roman masters. And the city's streets run red with the blood of its own people.
The Roman citizens really are helpless.
In Rome, power and glory were rapidly being replaced by corpses and cannibalism. After 2 years of suffering inside the sealed-off city, Roman pride had eroded enough to accept subjugation over starvation. On the orders of a Roman aristocrat, the city gates were opened and the Visigoths stormed in. Their shopping spree turned up tons of treasure, but hardly any food. So after 3 days, Alaric and his men moved on in search of greener pastures and left the heart of the Roman Empire on life support.
Ultimately, the empire split up again. It was simply too large to control. Constantine had moved the center of power, and most of the army, to Constantinople in the east. While it was being built up, the west was falling apart. The eastern half remained strong even after the fall of the empire. It was renamed and lasted for another 1,000 years, which is quite amazing. The heart of the empire, though, including the city of Rome itself, was conquered by barbarians. The empire broke apart, and Europe had no unifying force for hundreds of years.
Alaric's sack of Rome was not the end of the Roman Empire, but it was the beginning of the end. The same factors that weakened Honorius, poor leadership, the loss of territory and revenue, finally overwhelmed it. In 476 AD, the last Roman emperor in the West was deposed. In the East, the empire continued in a different form, its capital, Constantinople. But the glory that was ancient Rome, a superpower legendary for its brilliance and its brutality, for its madness and for its beliefs, that was finished.
One last thing we need to discuss is how this incredible empire 2,000 years ago still affects us today. First, the Roman language of Latin is the root of many modern languages today. Spanish, French and Italian are all directly from it, and English uses many parts as well, including the alphabet. Government is another thing we modeled after Rome. Their ideas of a republic with input from the people was one of the main founding ideas of this country. The importance of citizenship also came from Rome. The idea that a citizen ought to serve their country is a big deal. Lastly, and maybe most importantly, as we talked about, Christianity, the primary religion in the Western world, was born in the Roman Empire. Put simply, we would not be the country we are today without Rome. I'd like to thank you all for listening and checking out this lecture. This is just the beginning. Join us next time, when we'll look at what happened in Europe after the fall of the empire. Goodbye.